everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of the Everything's Taken podcast. I am one of your hosts here in Victoria, Australia. Very cold, wintry morning. Wood.
Yes.
How's it going? It's been a while.
I'm good. I'm actually really excited to do this podcast because I have so much to talk to you about, and I really want to hear about Japan because you just got back. But on top of that, we also have a really exciting guest, someone that I just met recently at Retropalooza in Houston. We have AntDude.
Oh, thanks, man. I like the intro. I like that. Makes me sound like a better person than I actually am.
No, honestly, so I went to Retropalooza and I heard there was someone called Ant-Man or AntDude or Ant something who was coming, and I'd never seen your content before. And then I met you, and you were just the nicest guy. Like you were around all weekend, and like every little group you fell into or situation you were in, it was like you were at every Retropalooza ever. It's like you were always supposed to be there. Such a nice guy, so chill. And then obviously started checking out your content after that, and my God, do you have some good content?
Oh, yeah.
Some legit quality content.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's what a whole lot of free time and no social life will get you.
Yeah, no, tell me about it.
Finally, somebody gives away the secret to be successful on YouTube. No friend.
No friends, a lot of free time, and a camera.
No, it was good because I told Wood, I'm like, hey, I'm free this weekend if you want to do something. And he said, okay, I'll try and organize a guest. And he suggested you, and I was like, great. So I'd never heard of you prior. And I took a look at your YouTube channel, and wow, you've got a lot of great stuff. You've got some really interesting topics for your videos, like ROM hacks and all that stuff, which we'll get into shortly. Really popular, 150,000 subs. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk to you about today on the program. But anyway, as Wood alluded to, I've just gotten back from a 15-day trip in Japan, where I managed to acquire one of these bad boys.
Dude.
A Famicom with Mother. Set me back about 40.
Wow, the mother I'm jealous of. I have a Famicom back home in those tubs and storage. But
That's pretty sick.
And I am Setsuna for the Switch, or as I like to call it, for the Switch.
Nice. You were supposed to get me one.
I know. Well, I am Switch Suna. That's what I like to call it. But Japan was a great place, and we did. It's kind of making the rounds on the internet. The Mario Karting around Tokyo. Just recently did that.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that whole situation. So it's real life Mario Kart around Japan.
Yeah, it's called Marikar, and there's a couple different locations around Tokyo. We did one in Akihabara. It was funny because as we were planning the trip, my wife was like, "Oh, would you be interested in doing that?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" But there was a lot more involved to actually do it. You had to get an international driver's license.
What?
Yeah, because I have an American driver's license and an Australian driver's license, but it's not enough. So I had to get an international driving permit that would allow me to drive in Japan. Just because they're like street legal go-karts. Like I was going about 60, 70 Ks, which is like 45, 50 miles an hour in the streets of Tokyo, which for a little go-kart, I mean, it feels like you're hauling ass. But there was a bunch of other costumes there, like some guy was dressed as Elmo, just tearing through the streets of Tokyo in the go-karts, which is just ridiculous. But no, Japan was very good. We loved it very much, speaking of. It was just a great trip, great experience, and we're looking forward to going back at some point. So, Wood, you got to go. AntDude, you got to go.
I want to go. It's on the list. I think London and England has to be first before I hit Tokyo, but it's definitely up there on the list.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Japan just to see like Akihabara and all the gaming stuff. Just that, but then also I know how beautiful it is. The Mario Kart stuff I've never heard of before. It's my first time here. I thought this was like the Universal stuff, the Nintendo World thing, but I didn't realize this was a real thing you could do right now.
No, yeah, it is. I mean, look, a lot of that stuff is in Akihabara. I enjoyed that the most. I mean, we went to a maid cafe. We were just walking around the streets of Akihabara, and a maid, one of the girls dressed as a maid handed us a flyer, and we were feeling kind of hungry, so we went to this maid cafe, which cost us way too much money, but it was an interesting experience.
But while you were away in Japan doing your Japan things, we crossed our 40,000 subscribers here on the channel.
Congrats. Well
That's
deserved.
Awesome.
Well deserved.
So thank you to everyone that helped that happen. But speaking of a lot of subscribers, Ant-Man.
Yes.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. So have you blown up recently? Have you gotten a lot of subs? Like, what's the trends here? Like how long did it take you to hit 150?
I try not to follow the trends because the more you look at the numbers, the more you're like, oh man, YouTube is a weird platform.
Mm-hmm.
I made the one video on Sonic ROM hacks, and then it was like 2 months after that, people started seeing it, and it was like, oh, that's a lot of people who are just watching me out of nowhere and staying around.
1.9 million views that one's at right now.
1.9 million?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the most popular.
And I do
Wow.
not know why. It's insane.
Well, there was a little while there where ROM hacks were being covered by a lot of channels, and maybe yours just got swept up in it all. You got yours in first, but I know John Tron was doing ROM hacks for a little while. He did a couple of ROM hack videos that seemed very close to each other, and then I had friends that were doing ROM hack videos around that time too, getting inspired by that, and then they were getting a lot of views. And then I saw, I think Peanut Butter Gamer covered a few, I think Zelda maybe ROM hacks. So maybe your video just got swept up in the ROM hack craze accidentally, and that's how it blew up so much.
Yeah, probably. It was a very, it was a topic that a whole lot of people didn't talk about, and it was something I actually legitimately liked as a kid. So I was like, let's see if, and this was before I was doing this full time. So it was still just like, let me see if this will be a neat idea. And it was weird, like 2 months after the fact, it's like, oh, it's at 500,000 views. What? Okay.
That's crazy. It's got to be a really great feeling, though. I mean, another great feeling is, like, obviously with a channel with 40,000 subscribers, not all my videos hit 40,000 views, but you are very consistent at hitting like 150,000 views and more on each of your videos. It's very, I'm very jealous. It's very impressive.
It's crazy. Again, it's not something I try thinking about. It just like whatever seems to work, I just keep at it and ride it until the wheels fall off has been my mentality.
And that's what I love about your channel too, is just you just seem to have so much fun. You just create these videos, this content that you just have a great time doing, talking about things that you can tell that you love and you're passionate about. And it just so happens to do freaking amazing.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And I know you have a passion for games because I watched you have a passion for games at Retropalooza, a retro gaming convention.
Yeah.
You're just like any of the rest of us, you just happen to be doing it a lot better.
Well, that's the thing is I don't like saying the word better. It's all just I don't know if I want I don't want to give an impression that I'm humble because then I have a tag on myself that I'm humble. But I'm a fan of so many people and think a lot more people deserve a whole lot more subs. That it's like, I guess I'm just lucky and fortunate to be where I'm at. But it's like,
well,
sure.
it really comes down to the fact that, like, look, I'm very inexperienced with your channel, and I watched it very briefly, but I watched your whole Mario month, as you called it.
Nice.
Really good.
Mario.
Really good content, dude. I don't get into the ROM hacks just because I've never been a guy to play a remix version of Super Mario World. But the most interesting one for me was the Super Mario 64 Star Road. I think it was.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like a fully fledged game, and it looks like it was done really properly and well. But there's a lot of kind of shitty spin-offs. So it's a mixed bag when it comes to ROM hacks, but a lot of the stuff that you cover is either good or bad. It's just showing ROM hacks on, different remixes of your favorite game. So that's probably the draw there. And you just seem so genuine and like, you don't lie whether or not if it's good or bad. You really kind of leave that up to the viewer.
Right.
So I like your formula. It's worked well for you. So I wish you the best success going forward. But doesn't sound like you need it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And that's something that it takes a while to figure out sort of like what character you try to perceive.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who like I guess I emulate or just pure comedians. I'm happy I'm at a point now where I can take some lesser known stuff and show it off without being just a documentary channel. So like for Mario 64 ROM hacks, I could have just showed all the weird BS stuff, but I'm like, Star Road is actually awesome and people should play it. Let me toss that in there as well.
I was gonna ask how the name came about. I was gonna ask how you got to AntDude from. I mean, your name's Anthony.
Yeah.
So I imagine the ANT has to do with that. So how did that start?
I was just always called Ant as a kid. I found out when I got older that Ant is not as common of a nickname for Anthony as I thought. I thought every Anthony just got called Ant at some point, but apparently that's not the case.
Well, it's Tony, right?
Yeah.
Tony's usually the...
People will typically ask that because I am Italian, but I'm an
Tone.
Italian from from Brooklyn, New York. Antoni. But I do not fit the Italian aesthetic at all. So I never go by Tony because it gives off the way wrong impression of me. It just seems weird.
So you just slapped a dude on the end and called it a day.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm lazy. It's a name that's very lazy, and I embrace that because it's a name. It doesn't roll off the tongue like a lot of other people. But I'm like, yeah, it's dumb. Ant-Man does work better, so I can't complain.
How often do you get Ant-Man? How many times people call you Ant-Man?
My family calls me Ant-Man because it's a joke now with everybody. Typically, that's it though. Just typically, it's only like a friend thing, really.
Well, I like the nickname. It'd be even funnier if somebody called you my AntDude, like my Aunt Florence.
Sometimes your puns are a hit. Sometimes they just.
Sometimes my puns are a hit, and sometimes they're shit.
Hey, I'll give you this though. You want to talk about puns? I was hanging out with buddies who joke about my YouTube status as well, and they jokingly called my fan base the Ant Farm.
Oh.
That's not
and
bad.
I was so mad because I was like, son of a bitch, that's actually clever, and I may need to start using that.
That's not bad. You might have to put
is
that on
clever.
a shirt somehow.
Now, more about your channel here. What you have a big sub base, which we're now going to dub the Ant Farm.
Yes.
What are some of your commonly asked questions? Because your comment sections, there's just thousands and thousands of comments. People are always probably dying to ask you something. So if you could address these questions, what's your most commonly asked questions, and how will you answer your loving ant farm?
Do you ever get like, hey, dude, how much do you love ants? Or have you seen the movie Ant-Man?
I've gotten that. It's weird and unfortunate because like once my channel started blowing up, I had this thing on YouTube where it would show me the latest comments on every video. But once it started blowing up, you get the haters too. And it became so demoralizing. I'm like, I guess I'm just never reading comments again.
What did the haters say? Tell us what the haters said.
Oh, it's basically just I'm ripping off everybody. Anyone who has over 1 million subs is like, oh, you're ripping off Jontron, you're ripping off Peanut Butter Gamer and Jared and everyone under the sun. And now I'm talking to these people like, yeah, they call me rip off of you. And I'm like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I hate those people that come along to YouTube and think they can steal someone else's idea. Like, I don't know, like game hunting shows like Game Chasers. Like, how many times do you see people come around and steal that idea?
What a
They go on a
douchebag.
quest. Go on a quest.
Like, it's almost like you can't like everything's been done, right?
Yeah.
Everything has been done at least 17 times. So you just need to bring something new to the table. You bring your own personality, you bring your own jokes, you bring your own sense of comedy, you bring your own information, and it's going to end up looking like someone else's video because it's so hard not to without being like super freaking weird, like Parappa the Rapper crazy, like out of the box, like just throwing flashy lights at people. And like sometimes that's I don't know. I definitely get that all the time too. That like lately I've been doing a lot of I've been trying to be funnier in my videos, which is something that I always like. I always like try to balance the line between, do I do a serious like this is my opinions on the video game, or like do I try and make people laugh? And since I've been trying to make people laugh, people are like, stop trying to be like hate street, or like get your own like sense of humor. I'm like, I mean, I find them funny, but that is my sense of humor. That's why I find them funny, is because I have a similar sense of humor. I can't help that.
I know naturally if you're a fan. Sorry.
No, go ahead. It's all right.
Eric loves being talked over. He just freaking loves it.
It's because my connection's so shit here. I have lag.
It's 2017. I don't kink shame. Let's go. So when like the thing is, when it comes to something like that, it's annoying because if you watch people, naturally that sense of humor is going to rub off on you just subconsciously. So you don't even think about ripping someone off, and then you'll see comments like, "Oh, this is a joke someone else used." I was like, "Oh, really?" So that's where I got it from.
When I was doing okay, so my channel, as most people know, is Retro Game Remix. So before I did specifically music, game creation, or whatever you want to call it, I did reviews or in-depth reviews and discussions on a channel called Crossroads Reviews. That's how I actually met Wood. And that was the thing. It was so hard to pitch myself as a character because I don't like faking myself as a character or making myself as something else. I mean, that's people do it all the time. It's just not in my personality to do it. So that's why I ended up doing really kind of boring and informative videos, just because I really enjoyed doing the long form stuff. So I did like a 20-minute thesis on the Donkey Kong Country series, and that was the last video I did, just because it was like, if this is what I really want to do, I unfortunately don't have the time to do it. But you kind of make yourself as like a character. That's why it's more enjoyable to watch you and your banter between shots and your reactions and your facial expressions between shots of game footage and everything. I think that's why people like you and people are drawn to you. That's what sets you away from the Jontrons and everybody else out there, because eventually you do find your own niche and you do just continue that trend, and that's what makes AntDude.
Plus, you kind of have that like boy next door look about you too. I think people think that's
I love it. It's cute.
I have never
It's
gotten
nice.
that comment before, so I appreciate it.
you're like the kind of guy that like you bring home to meet the parents. Like you're really excited to like show your parents this new guy you just started dating. Like this nice guy. You know what I mean? Am I the only one that's feeling that right now?
I mean, I've just never gotten something like that before, so I appreciate it.
So I feel like as far as YouTubers go, like I'm the kind of YouTuber that you like sneak in your window at
You're the
night.
bad boy.
Your parents
absolutely.
you don't find
It's
out
the
about.
accent.
But you're definitely the one that sticks around for Sunday dinner.
What kind of
Sunday
YouTuber am
roast.
I? I'm the one that never shows up.
I don't even know. I don't know how to answer that.
I don't know.
Well, with the
either.
beanie and the beard and you have the guitar, you could be like just on the corner, just
I'll be the busker. I'll be begging for change.
Yeah, you're the homeless guy
There you go.
that no one talks to.
Oh, that's.
No, that's you're no, that's too mean.
That's
You're
funny.
too nice for that.
I know. You've got a large catalog of videos so far. Which one was your favorite, and which one was your most frustrating to make?
boy. I guess the favorite would be the original Sonic ROM hack one, just because that was actually a passion project. I feel like for a lot of people's video topics, you end up going out of your way to be like, this seems interesting. Let me put myself in this topic to learn it. But that was something that I legitimately liked as a kid, and I was like, I guess I'll make a video on it. Why not? And then it blew up. So that's the crown jewel. Don't understand how it has that many views, but that's besides the point. As for most frustrating, I don't know. Like a lot of them are honestly stressful to work at because you're always working at the last minute. Oh, they a Kirby game released out of nowhere a couple weeks ago, and I got that video out in 2 days after it released. And there was like 2 or 3 days before Retropalooza, and that played into my whole lack of sleep thing.
Being tired.
Oh god, yeah, so bad. So yeah, probably that.
Did you do any like prior? Do you edit your own videos?
Yeah, I'm a one-man show.
Did you ever do any prior? Like, did you study it? Did you learn it in high school? Did you do college? Did you what? You just self-taught?
It's all self-taught. I learned some Photoshop skills in class. I only ever started asking people for advice like a couple of years ago because I never learned how to do proper camera lighting and stuff like that. But I was talking with people like Norm, gaming historian, a couple other buddies about how to get a good microphone and a good camera because I'm a cheap bastard. So when you tell me I need to spend $400 or $500 on a camera, I'm like, what are my other options? So yeah, that played a part into it. Everything else is self-taught. I hate spending money. So when you say
Me too.
I hate spending money.
$500
I
on
had
a
to
camera,
buy.
$200 on a microphone, it's like, okay, cool.
I had to drop 200 on the microphone I'm using right now for this podcast, and I bought it for the podcast. And like Eric will tell you, it took me like a few weeks to actually finally hit that button on Amazon.
Dude.
And I think a part of Eric was like, I don't think he's gonna do it. I don't think he's gonna buy that because
I'm glad you're asking me for opinions because I mean I do have a home recording studio, so we are going to play a hit song from a record that hasn't been released yet because I just haven't had time to complete it. But it is Mario 64 Rainbow Road, cover by yours truly. So, without any further ado, I will play the song because I'm the full band. So, go ahead.
Welcome to Mario Kart.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the program. I hope you enjoyed the musical break. A lot of people have been complaining about it, so tough shit. Guitar was unnecessary. Well, we're going to continue to do it because we like to do it because a lot of people like it.
I think it's nice. I think when I'm driving and I get halfway through a podcast, I like cranking up the tunes and rocking out to some jams.
It's different. A lot of people don't do it for podcasts. I mean, some people have like quick intermission breaks, but not a full-fledged video game cover break. So
it reminds me of like when I used to drive back in Australia. It makes me nostalgic for when I used to drive and crank some music up in the car. And speaking of nostalgia, BUBSY.
Ooh, that was
BUBSY
smooth.
is
what a transition.
BUBSY is
Man, that was
back.
good. 10 out of 10.
What? Thank you. Why is BUBSY back?
I don't know.
I like the concept. I like the idea because I think it's funny. And it kind of makes sense. You know, you have Crash Bandicoot coming out again, and like an old Sony mascot, and you have Sonic's like seems to be back. Like it feels like he's back, another Sega mascot. So now we have BUBSY. BUBSY's making a return.
Let me.
Can we just talk? I don't have words.
Okay,
really.
Here's this: an article from Kotaku. Nobody wanted this, but BUBSY is officially coming back, and that could not be more true because BUBSY. I mean, let's be honest. A couple games on the PlayStation, Genesis, and whatever else. And the last release in the series was 21 years ago with BUBSY 3D in 1996. Nobody ever liked this game. I don't think anybody ever did.
It's publicly and widely known as one of the worst and most hated games of all time. It's up there with Superman 64.
Yeah, it's bad.
Have you played AntDude? Have you played the BUBSY?
I played
games?
a little bit of
BUBSYs?
BUBSY 3D, and that was all. This is all I needed.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
It's bad.
I actually think it's strangely clever when you think about it, because it is widely known, especially in our community and people that probably listen to this podcast, as one of the worst games of all time. And so you would just naturally assume there's never going to be a sequel, but the fact that there is so shocking, so random. It kind of makes you want to play it. It kind of makes you want to give it a try.
That's the thing is like the BUBSY games are on Steam now. And people probably took that as like, oh, it's the meme. Now you made it available. I guess they were like legitimately playtesting. Like, let's see how many people will buy a BUBSY game. Oh, there's enough interest for a new BUBSY game. God, no.
No.
You know, I've noticed that trend happening a lot with Netflix, where they'll put a show out. Like I think they put out Death Note randomly appeared on Netflix one day, like the original anime. And then recently, about 6 months later, they announced Death Note, like a new show they were doing. And I'm pretty sure they put Ghostbusters the cartoon up recently. And then I think they've announced there's going to be a new Ghostbusters cartoon that they're going to be working on.
Okay.
Wow.
And then I've noticed that with a few things. They put out these shows, and they put out mystery theater, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They put out all the odd episodes, and then about 6 months later, we have a new mystery. So
Well, look, the difference between those series and BUBSY is that those are good or relatively good, and BUBSY just sucks. Like nobody asked for it. But the thing is like, what if the new BUBSY is actually good?
Well, the original BUBSY wasn't horrible.
Look, yeah, it's all right. 2D platformer, it's okay.
It wasn't. From what I remember, it was really hard to control because BUBSY moved so fast, and you only had so much of the screen that you just never really saw what was coming.
Right.
But apart from that, it wasn't a terrible game. So as long as they pull it out a little bit, maybe it won't be too bad. You gonna make a joke about that, Eric?
I'm gonna leave that family friendly.
PG.
But like, imagine if they did BUBSY 3D HD remaster for the Switch or PS4 or whatever. It's coming on PS4 and PC.
Would you drop $5 on a BUBSY 3D remastered?
No.
Because a lot of people would. That's the thing is because it's such a meme now that BUBSY's probably going to sell really well, even though it'd be like reviews would come out and be like, hey, this game is also trash, and be like, I'm going to buy it anyway. It's new BUBSY.
I want it to be really corny 90s. I want them to do it like the voice acting and all the jokes and the sense of humor and the puns just be like so 90s. The personality just scream like almost cringe.
They got a similar voice actor.
Way.
It sounds like the same BUBSY from the 90s.
No, I think it honestly could be fun. A fun throwback to BUBSY. And I mean, we also have Shaq Fu 2 coming as well.
Yes.
Whatever the new Shaq Fu is called, which is also another random not great game at all. Like, it wasn't horrific. It's kind of fun in a humorous way to play it, but not a great game. Having a sequel finally coming out. It's been like 3 years since I heard about it.
Well, it was on Indiegogo, and I'm checking out the Indiegogo page now, and it was 458,000. So it was a lot.
It's so weird. Like, what year are we living in? Like, a BUBSY sequel, a Shaq Fu sequel, and I also heard there's a Mary Poppins sequel.
A Mary Poppins sequel?
They're doing another Mary Poppins.
Wasn't that 60s?
Like, yeah,
what?
well, it's like, I think it was 60s or 70s.
This is a weird year.
Everything's getting recycled, and it's like every time you hit a point where it's like, all right, they've done everything, they can't do anything else. The Mary Poppins sequel pops out of nowhere, and there's another sequel being made too for like an action type movie. I can't remember what it was, like a Lethal Weapon type movie. It wasn't Lethal Weapon, because I'd be excited for that. There's a sequel coming for that too. And it's just, they keep rebooting and recycling these things over and over and over again from like the 80s and 90s. And
eventually they're going to run out. Like a lot of 80s movies, like there's no good 80s movies to remake anymore. I mean, they're doing...
What about Weird Science? I could go for a new Weird Science.
Big Trouble in Little China, they're rebooting that.
Right.
With The Rock.
I think that might be the one.
Like...
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
Like, why?
Oh, my
why would
God.
you do it? Like, I know a lot of people think it's a cult hit, but I sat down and watched it with my wife like a year ago, and we couldn't even finish it. It was just so bad. It's like, I've never been like that with a movie.
It's okay. I like Kurt Russell. I do actually enjoy.
He's a good actor, though.
You know what would kill me? Like, a lot of people, you know, like when like Ghostbusters was being remade, people obviously got really upset, and like when movies get remade, and I'm always like, yeah, it's whatever. If it sucks, it sucks. Like, I just won't watch it. But you know what will actually hurt me? If they remake Back to the Future.
I was just going to say, because I remember there were rumors, I think, circulating a little while ago that, like, maybe a new Back to the Future, that would be the worst thing. Because that's, like, one of my favorite movies of all time.
I can't remember who said it. I don't know if it was Robert Zemeckis or whatever his name is. How you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I think it might have been him that said no way in hell.
Okay.
Like, it's never, as long as I'm alive, it's not going to happen. It would break my heart, even hearing about it. I don't even care if it's good. Like, in fact, if it's great, I think I'd be even more upset.
Me too.
Because I don't want it. Like, it's my favorite movie of all time. I've watched it like 3 times in the last 2 weeks. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's stupid how much I love that movie.
Same here. Favorite movie of all time.
Thank you.
I mean,
I have a little, you probably can't see it.
I see it.
In that camera, but I have a little shrine to Back to the Future back there. I have a life-size hoverboard as well in Texas right now. Oh, you have the same. Nice. Even sat on the little box. Look at us go.
Have you guys played the Back to the Future Telltale games? It's like...
I haven't heard of it. What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's...
I actually, you know what's bad? I haven't finished it.
I haven't finished it either.
But
I haven't played it.
I do really like it.
Back to the Future on Super Nintendo, and that's pretty good.
I want to give a shout out to one of the most unknown and niche things in Australia.
This is going to be a joke.
And that's Hungry Jack's Coffee, guys. Hungry Jack's Coffee is like the least expected to be good coffee. And it's good. So Hungry Jack's Cappuccinos, just shout out.
You know what? Today, actually, I went to Timmy's. That's Tim Hortons for you non-Canadians out there. And they usually have absolutely awful coffee. And apparently they had really good coffee, but then they were bought out by Burger King, which is Hungry Jack's.
They were bought out by Burger King? Tim Hortons?
Yeah, apparently Burger King owns Tim Hortons now.
What the hell?
And so their coffee went down to crap. And like I've literally, the last time apart from today, actually, I bought coffee from them. I took one sip and I threw it out. It was literally undrinkable. But I was in a gas station today and I saw one and I was like, I really wanted a Nutella donut. It's like a Nutella freaking. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna get Tim Hortons coffee. But it wasn't bad. Shout out to Tim Hortons in the gas station near me. I actually have halfway decent coffee.
I don't typically drink coffee often, but I did have Tim Hortons when I was in Canada. I had they have a frozen coffee.
Oh,
those are a different story.
The cappuccinos. Iced cappuccinos, they're so good.
Okay, so I haven't had the regular coffee. I didn't realize the regular coffee was bad because the iced cap was amazing.
The regular coffee is bad.
Okay.
The iced cappuccinos,
so
dude, I had one yesterday. It's yeah, I can't even describe it. It's like drinking ice cream.
Oh god, it's amazing.
Oh,
it's so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, I never used to be a coffee guy. I used to drink just black. I mean, I still drink just black with like 4 sugar in it. But I started drinking cappuccinos from Hungry Jack's, and you know, I like to call it a Hungry Jackccino. So, welcome to the most irrelevant part of the program, folks.
what else can we talk about here? Now, I've got a couple notes down. I was going to talk about the Switch, but let's talk about E3 because, I mean, that kind of encompasses a lot of things. Now, we touched E3 last podcast, but that was a couple weeks ago, so let's touch on it ever so briefly here and take some opinions from AntDude. What do you expect to see this year at E3, AntDude? Or what do you want to see? What are your hopes? What are your dreams and your
just in
your
general,
needs?
not even about E3. What are your hopes and dreams?
No, what are your dreams? What do you want from us?
I love E3. I've been watching it every year since like 2006. I just like the spectacle of it. So like regardless of whatever they announce, I just like this 1 week where everyone's just this blob absorbing information from game companies. I want Spyro the Dragon.
Oh,
a new Spyro
remakes of like how Crash is being done. Do that with Spyro.
Okay.
That would be awesome. And then for Nintendo to not suck, that would be amazing. Because now that's 25 minutes at the time that they was recording.
They dropped it from 30 to 25, and that's a big difference. I mean,
it is a
for
big
E3.
They could still do good. I just don't want them to suck.
I feel like with the Spyro thing, so Crash actually isn't out yet, non-surprisingly, because we only heard about it last year at Sony's E3, so we're about on track, about 2 years behind of everything they're actually announced to come out. So I think Crash is coming out pretty soon. I saw it actually today
end of the month.
in the releasing soon. So I don't think that's enough time for them to decide. I think they'd want to see how that goes, like whoever's behind Spyro and who's going to do that. So I think maybe next year, if Crash does well,
sure.
you might
I'm
see
just a fanboy.
Oh, absolutely. So, I think it'd be a cool idea. I think it would do well, but I think logically in their minds, it'd probably be a better idea to wait and see how Crash does. As far as Nintendo goes, really hoping they don't suck this year because it's always kind of a letdown. I've honestly, they could have 24 minutes and 50 seconds of that be about anything they want, anything terrible, as long as I have 10 seconds of a black screen and then right in the last 3 seconds it says Metroid Prime, and then it fades out, and that's the entire thing. That'll win it for me.
That's the problem now is that everybody wants Metroid, and if they don't, it's gonna be a major meltdown.
Well, they just Axiom Verge has come to the Switch, which I mean, like, look, it's as Metroid as you're gonna get at this point in time, unless it's officially called Metroid. But because now that I'm in Australia, I have to get up at 2 a.m. to watch the 25-minute conference. And if it sucks, I'm going to be pissed off because I got up at 2 a.m. to watch a shitty conference that has no Metroid. And it's just like the Nindies Treehouse with Bill Trinen. Like, I don't care. Like, I want the good meat and potato stuff. We're going to see Super Mario Odyssey. That's majority of their focus, so they've said.
I feel like,
I'm really pushing for Super Smash Brothers Deluxe from the Wii U ported over to the Switch. Yep. I'm hoping for a good virtual console library. I'd love to see some GameCube games. I'm still pushing for Super Mario Sunshine and Super Smash Brothers Melee. We do have that USB, GameCube device that was used with the Wii U, which is, by the way, also now dead. So I don't know. We'll see.
We're gonna see a lot of Odyssey. We're probably gonna see a little bit of Splatoon.
So I feel like we won't see any Splatoon because they've already covered so much in like the previous weeks that I feel like they're just getting out of the way.
I feel like they're not gonna have much to talk about. I feel like they're gonna keep so much reserved that they're gonna spend at least a couple minutes on Splatoon. ARMS, I'm not sure because ARMS will be out by then.
Yeah, ARMS they shouldn't cover at all. It's already in the hands of reviewers. So
they did just release a trailer, like a 2-minute trailer of ARMS, Splatoon, and another game.
Pokken Tournament.
Nintendo Pokken Tournament. So maybe they'll play that trailer or just briefly talk about those three things.
They'll throw it in the hype reel, like check out all the great content. Yeah. Reggie will be like, great software drives great hardware, and I'm like, okay, whatever, Reggie.
The reason why I think they really need Metroid right now is because the something that I've been missing lately on Nintendo is a story. Like Zelda had this what felt like an amazing story, this huge in-depth amazing story that you had 12 little memory snippets of. Yeah. And you sort of had to build your own imagination around the story around that. It had a great story, but there just wasn't enough of it. And then everything else they're doing now, as I said in the video that I released today, it's like, ARMS, which is multiplayer, Splatoon, which is multiplayer, Smash Bros. Multiplayer, Mario Kart's multiplayer. You don't really have these like amazing inventions anymore. And obviously like Mario Odyssey's coming out. I got no idea what kind of story that's going to have. But I mean, like Paper Mario, which came out recently, great game, had a really fun story, but it was very much Bowser's doing bad stuff, go get Peach back. So I really need something with a story. And even though Metroid is, again, it's a game that
Guys,
I am
really
Setsuna.
good.
Metroid's a game that has always had an amazing story, but it's always been an amazing backstory.
Yeah.
And then you're Samus trapped in this place, and here's the story of how you got out. But I really feel like it's an opportunity for them to make a game for a hardcore audience, a first-person shooter type game that everyone's been dying for, give it a really awesome story, a strong female protagonist, put it on the Switch, sell a bunch of systems, make a bundle eventually. It seems like a no-brainer to me to do that.
See, I don't know if they'll do
some
that because
reason,
Other M exists, and they tried doing a story. So I don't know if they'll probably be hesitant to do that again.
Other M just wasn't that great.
No, it wasn't.
And I mean, it was on the Wii, which the Wii, I mean, sold a lot, but the Wii was a system for casual like mums that wanted to play on a balance board. It didn't really have a hardcore market behind it. But the Wii U built a tiny bit of a hardcore market back, a very small amount, and the Switch is the opportunity for them to really open it up back to people, like everyone. Sure. And I feel like a Metroid's something that could do really well, especially on a system at this point. If you release it in the next couple of years, there's not going to be a huge library of stuff for people to get behind. So Metroid's definitely going to be one that people are going to pick up.
No, you're right. You're right. Certainly right. I mean, other than all that stuff, I don't think we're going to see much more than what we're expecting. They may come out with a couple of different surprises. I don't know. We'll wait and see. But
there have been rumors for years that Retro Studios of Metroid Prime fame has been working on a new Star Tropics.
Ooh.
So that would be cool. That would be really
so
cool.
like the 5 people who care about Star Tropics.
I've heard rumors of Star Tropics like sequels happening for like about a year. Like people wanting it more than actual rumors.
You know what?
It's really random, but it's
me.
You know
I'm
what I
always
want?
the one guy on Twitter.
There was a couple rumors a couple years ago that Retro Studios was working on a new Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah.
And rumor has it that's why Diddy wasn't in Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe.
That's what I'm hoping.
So that's
sense.
I mean, I'm also hoping for a Last Guardian release date at this point. I mean, it's been like 12 years, so.
If Nintendo would just reveal the NX, it would be great.
Okay, so that's Nintendo. Sony's going to talk about a bunch of stuff that isn't going to come out for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft has the Scorpio. So I guess that's it. Well, that's going to be E3 this year. Any surprises? Any Bethesda? So did I talk about Cyberpunk last week or last podcast?
No,
Did I
but
mention that at all?
there's been a couple little bits of news about Cyberpunk, so please delve into that.
Cyberpunk is a game that about 17 years ago, I've used that number so much today, 17. So about 17 years ago, I saw a trailer for a really, really cool trailer with some really cool music. I actually ended up downloading the music and I listened to it a lot. But it was such a cool trailer, such a unique concept. And I really wanted to dive into that world. I wanted to learn more about that world just from the 2-minute trailer that we were given. But then nothing. And then they said that they were going to focus on Witcher 3 and they weren't going to do anything with it until like 2015 and then 2016 and then 2017. But now it seems like finally this year we're going to hear something about it. And they've definitely, they made a tweet recently because apparently some hackers managed to steal some Cyberpunk 2077 files and were threatening to release them online unless they gave in to the demands. And what they said was along the lines I'm paraphrasing of, what they have is old files. The game has changed so much since then that whatever they have isn't going to like reflect on the game at all and what the game actually looks like, which tells me they're actually in a stage right now where they have a game that they're building. And hopefully we get to see some of it this year. I'm really excited.
Is this just an open world game in a cyberpunk world? I've not heard of it.
Yeah. I mean, so it's like CD Projekt, however you pronounce it, the people that did Witcher. So it's like that style of a game, but it's done in like a futuristic setting, something that
sounds
looks
really
like
cool.
I mean, I'm using it as my desktop wall background right now, but it's like this robotic looking chick who's like half chick, half machine. And there's like this weird like New York City cop looking kind of dudes, but like in futuristic goggles with like these badass
This
guns.
all sounds like if Ghost in the Shell got rebooted and was good.
No. What if it's...
Sounds very interesting.
What if this CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 is actually Snatcher HD?
Yeah, it definitely looks very.
I mean,
similar
like
to
all
Snatcher,
jokes aside, it actually sounds like a Blade Runner type concept, which is really cool, like that sci-fi futuristic world. So, like, I don't like the open world type stuff like The Witcher. Witcher, great series, a lot of respect for the series, but just not for me. But the concept of Cyberpunk 2077 sounds really cool on paper. actually might be sold. So hopefully we can see some more information about that at this point. But, they've been affected by some ransomware now. So
I do love open world games. I do. And I struggle to get into them sometimes because, some of them feel very similar, like Witcher 3, Skyrim, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Dungeons, Dragons, which is like really cool. But I've just always wanted something a little bit more like up to date, and like Fallout 4 and like 3, but Fallout 4 I absolutely fell in love with, but it's still very feels almost primitive in a futuristic way, whereas this game is very futuristic, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it and what kind of world you can explore.
It'll be, because the open world stuff is the genre right now. It's easy to get like inundated because Horizon was one of them. Days Gone looks to be like another one open world game. Final Fantasy 15 was open world. Zelda was open world. Every time you just see that stupid circle with like a bunch of other icons around it, it's like, okay, it's one of these stupid games again.
Yes.
It bogs you down. Like, I'm trying to, right now, I still haven't finished Fallout 4, as much as I say I love it. I feel like I'm right near the end. I play it in parts. Still haven't finished Witcher 3. Nowhere even close. Haven't finished Final Fantasy 15. I'm still trying to get all the damn shrines in Zelda. There's not enough time to play these open world games. I don't need another one, but I want it.
So that's when those like 2-hour BUBSY game sounds pretty good right about.
It does.
Well,
it does.
I'm looking forward to ARMS. Look, I'm playing through I Am Switch Sooner right now, but I'm looking for that casual kind of relief game to sit down on the couch and just punch some people online.
Well, can confirm ARMS super good.
Good.
Do you get early access to that one?
Yeah, playing it quite a bit. It's pretty good.
Really
excited.
I
kind of wish I got early access to Mario Kart 8, which it was cool. I played that game to death on the Wii U, so I was kind of like, this is cool. I get it early, play it for a little bit. I was really hoping I'd get ARMS because I know I'm either gonna love it or I'm gonna not hate it, but just not like it.
If you're gonna play it with people, it's good. It's a lot of fun. I feel like they're trying to go back to the Nintendo 64 approach of like, this is the multiplayer thing. Because they're like you already said, ARMS, Splatoon, Mario Kart, all these multiplayer games.
Yeah,
that's fine, but I want like that single player campaign. Like that's what I'm missing. Like I just want to go back to the time where Nintendo was single player focused, and that's where you can find your best stories. Like Zelda was great, but if we get a Metroid like Wood was talking to, just a really great single player campaign, Switch is going to skyrocket. But if anybody wants to buy me Super Street Fighter: The Ultimate Fighters 2,
multiplayer is great. It's fun, and like I get what they're trying to do. You have a portable system, take it to your friend's house, they all have one, you play with each other. Like I get it, but it's like it's 2017. Like there's a reason why PlayStation and Xbox moved away from it, and then everything's online, and it's like they re-released Lego City Undercover, which is like I finally picked it up. I got it for $40, and I was excited. I messaged my friend Sean. I'm like, let's play it, let's co-op it. They re-released the game, right? And the only thing they really added to it is a 2-player co-op. That's really the only thing that's new about it. So let's give it a shot. And he's like, it's local only. And obviously he lives in North Carolina. So,
come on.
With 2017, I picked up a game and the only new feature was co-op, and it's not even online. Like if you want to push multiplayer, at least push some online. Like I don't want to have to find someone else that happens to have this game and bring my Switch to their house just to play it 2-player.
Yeah.
I love Nintendo, and I talked to you today in my video about how I feel like they should learn from their mistakes at this point, and there's a lot of things I did wrong with the Wii and the Wii U, and then something like this happens, and it's like, how hard would it have been to make that online, guys? Like, do you not understand what year you're living in? And I really feel like they don't sometimes.
Oh, that's been the complaint against Nintendo forever. It seems like there's just always been Nintendo's behind the times.
Yeah, no, that's
and
that's
even if I did
right.
throw an online on there, can't talk to them unless I Facebook call them or like Skype them, because there's no in-game chat or any kind of
through your phone
online, which eventually is going to be through your phone. Why would I not just call someone on Facebook or Discord?
Why alienate the people who have iPhone 7s that have a proprietary lightning jack instead of a headphone jack? So now I got to plug a stupid adapter in. Have you guys seen the adapter for the headset for Splatoon?
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the Switch is great, and it was great, to play Mario Kart 8 in a plane or on the bullet train or whatever, like I just recently did, which was fine. But, at the end of the day, it's like, come on, guys. Like, you're still a little bit behind the curve. So that's why the PlayStation ecosystem is probably the best at the moment. We're only critical of Nintendo because we love Nintendo. We want Nintendo to succeed.
Oh, I adore Nintendo. They frustrate me, but I adore them.
If they didn't have some of the best franchises of all, if Sony would have screwed this up, it'd be like, whatever, don't really care about their games anyway. But Nintendo's like, yeah, but they have Mario.
No.
Yeah.
Mario.
Mario.
You know what's breaking my heart right now is I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm doing gaming wrong right now because the Switch just came out. I'm in love with the system. I'm addicted to buying games for it, and I really want to keep buying games for it. But everything that's coming out is like remakes and remasters and things that I already played. And I'm trying to afford it because they're so expensive, and I'm missing out. I still haven't got Horizon, and I want to play Horizon so bad. But I keep going back into EB Games and GameStop and looking at the Switch games and trying to save up to buy a Switch game that I've already played before or I played like 25 years ago, but I want to build my Switch library because I'm so excited to have this new piece of hardware. But I feel like I'm screwing up, and I feel like I just need to take a chill pill on the Switch, wait for Odyssey to come out or ARMS to come out, whatever it is to come out, and buy some PlayStation 4 games again. But Nintendo's killing me right now.
It's funny. The joke now is like a year ago, people were like, stop with all these ports and remasters. It sucks. But now it's this year. Now the Switch is out. People are like, I want to play every single video game on the Switch. I mean, once you play the Switch on the go and then pop it back on your TV, then you really get it. Like I did that with Mario Kart. I started a cup on a plane, finished it at home on my TV, and I was like, oh, okay, I get the Switch now. It would be cool to play like any video game that way. But
it is cool. It is definitely an upgrade to the concept of the Wii U, which had a similar, it wanted to be that, but you couldn't really. I mean, you could pick it up and take it to the bathroom, and that was about it. And even then, half the games wouldn't even run on the pad. You could only play it on the TV. So it's definitely a cool concept. But
look, the thing is that people get addicted to the certain ecosystem of the system that they love. Like last year, I was PlayStation or bust. Like I was playing everything on PS4, and now it's like, okay, even though I started Yooka-Laylee on PS4, I'm going to wait till it finally comes out on Switch and then finish it on the Switch. Or like Shovel Knight. Every system that I'm playing at the time, I always get Shovel Knight for, and I play through Shovel Knight just because that's the system that I'm on at the time. So like the Nintendo Switch ecosystem, I've said this a million times, is what I'm into at the moment. I want to play everything on the Switch, and it just so happens that all these ports from the Wii U, which didn't do as well as they wanted to, they're bringing everything over from the Wii U, it looks like at this point. If they're bringing over Pokken Tournament, which is only a year old, if they're bringing that over, who's to say what they're going to bring over in their hype trailer at E3 that's 25 minutes long now?
It definitely makes sense. I mean, the Wii U didn't sell well. They had this great library that I talk about all the time. It makes sense to want to port it over. Plus, it beefs out the Switch library, gives people that didn't get a chance to play those games a chance to pick them up and play them.
Sure.
And it feels like there's quality titles coming out all the time. So, I mean, it makes sense on Nintendo's part to do something like that. But it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see that with Smash, because Smash is inevitably going to get announced, but you're still going to get comments of like another port, even though realistically it's going to be like, it's going to be huge. But
unless they, I mean, Smash has been a little while. I mean, when that come out now, 3 years ago,
2014,
so, something like that.
So, see that's again, like last podcast, the guys that we had on and Eric were talking about how they might put Melee into the GameCube. So I feel like Smash is such a heavy hitter and big seller that they're not going to want to jeopardize sales on a sequel, and it's coming up on time now. We're probably going to hear about a sequel in the next year coming out a year after that, and I don't know if they're ever going to do anything to jeopardize that. Like it'd be like putting Mario Kart like 7 or like Double Dash onto the Switch. Like it'd be fun, but then.
Well, I almost,
there's just less reason to buy 8.
I'm almost of the belief that they're not going to make another Smash Brothers, just because, like, obviously it's a license to print money, and I feel like the safer thing is to actually just put Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS on Switch, because like there were some leaked images which I think turned out to be fake.
Yeah, they were fake.
So if they actually did combine the 3DS version and the Wii U version, like with Smash Run and all that stuff, like I thought the 3DS version was really cool. But I didn't really feel like playing on such a tiny screen because my hands actually ended up getting cramped. If they brought that over to the Switch, that'd be good. But I kind of feel like making a Smash Brothers game is just so much work, and the body of work for the Wii U version is still kind of relevant. I mean, they're just finally putting out the last bit of amiibos I think at the end of the month. With Cloud and Bayonetta and all that stuff, which I'll definitely get.
I guess I could port it over and then use it as a building block and just add a whole new roster of characters to it, or at least like 20-ish, 10, 15, 20 new characters
please.
To it.
That'd be
Shovel Knight. I want Shovel Knight,
and then double the maps. And I mean, because all you'd have to, think about it. I mean, what you could port it over, You could add in 3 ARMS characters. You could add in 2 or 3 Splatoon characters. Right there, you're up to like 5 or 6. And there's not much effort in that. You know, you got Fox, and he uses the same moveset as Falco and
Ice Climbers.
and Wolf. So you do the same thing with those characters. I mean, what other IPs do we have we can steal from? I mean, you're right, Shovel Knight, as long as they get the licensing down to do something.
Ukulele.
Bring the Ice Climbers back. Ukulele, that'd be neat.
Ukulele would be pretty cool. You got Super Bomberman R now. Maybe throw in a couple of Bomberman R characters.
You know, the funny thing is like people are still hungry for more characters, even though there's already 50 characters in the roster or more now with the DLC characters. Like, when is it ever going to be enough?
Oh, it's never going to be.
Well,
enough.
It's never enough.
I mean,
That's
never.
the thing.
But I'm talking from a standpoint of like, you know, not making a new Smash game and just building on the old one.
Yeah.
Doubling the maps and.
I almost think they won't make a new Smash
bunch-
because if you ever read developer interviews, poor Sakurai, man,
Yeah,
he killed himself.
Done. He's
Like he had
tapped
like
out.
major arthritis and stuff like that. Like I remember he hurt his wrist like 2 months into development. And they were like, "Oh God, please don't die."
Yeah,
Poor
that's
guy
why I
put
said they're
himself through
probably
hell.
not going to make another just because it's too strenuous on him.
Yeah.
And like he's had a different development team behind him every time, so like that's why they had Namco really help out with the last one. That's how they managed to get Pac-Man in there, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
You know what would be cool? Toon Link, Adult Link, Breath of the Wild Link.
Ooh, I might have
in
to buy
Smash.
that.
And then you could have, you could even have maybe some of those like what are they called? Legend Heroes, whatever their names are.
That'd be
yeah,
his
yeah.
final Smash. They get the 4 divine beasts.
Yeah, and they like, you know, remember how Snake's final Smash kind of had like a little like over screen thing, and you had to shoot bombs. You could do that, but with like these 4 lasers. You're trying to like hit everyone.
That'd be pretty awesome.
pretty
That'd
cool.
be pretty cool. Or it's one of the blue arrows instead of like his regular arrows, and he like shoots a big blue arrow.
I was gonna say, you know how
and it blows
Nintendo's
up a little
lazy. You'd be like, it'll just be the same exact Final Smash, just different color.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And I'm still hoping for the kid from Star Tropics, but I'm the only
man.
one.
Yeah. I mean, if they do a sequel,
Shovel Knight's more likely than that at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I would love to see the kid from Star Tropics, though.
I feel like Smash is always a good way of promoting a new game. Put out a character before the game comes out. Put out Star Tropics Kid. Put out a new sequel.
Don't do this to
Make
me.
money.
Well, here's Lucas has been in the games for over 10 years now, and they still haven't. Oh, by the way, Mother 3 is coming this year. E3 guys,
Yeah, don't doubt it.
guarantee it.
Yeah. 100%. Mother 3,
Don't-
Half-Life 3.
Yeah, it'll be the biggest E3 of all time. Mother 3, Half-Life 3, and The Last Guardian. It's my year, finally.
Last Guardian 2 coming 2040.
2077.
2077, come out with Cyberpunk at the same time.
Oh, it's clever.
Yeah.
It's clever.
Okay, everybody. So that's pretty much been episode 5. We've covered a lot of ground with our really great guest, AntDude, and talking about a lot of wish list stuff for E3. Really quick shout out to everybody who's been listening to us on iTunes and SoundCloud. Apologies because episode 4 hasn't gone up on SoundCloud just because I'm normally
My bad.
I'm normally the one that takes care of it, and I just
Eric was in Japan. He told me what to
I
do.
selfishly decided to
didn't do
go
it.
on a honeymoon, so shoot me.
Bastard.
Thanks again to everybody who's been liking and commenting. Really love interacting with everybody, even the people who say that our flannels are stupid or the guitar was unnecessary in the middle of the song. We appreciate everyone.
I'm not wearing a flannel today.
Me either. So it's
too warm.
I took your advice, and I'm not wearing any flannels anymore. So once again, big thanks to AntDude. Really love having you.
Of course,
we'd love
dude, it's
to
awesome.
have you back anytime. So maybe
Tell us what's your next video,
Yeah.
AntDude. I want to know. Give us some
And
insight.
some
info
inside
right
stuff.
now.
I'm working
What are you
working
working
on
on?
Crash Bandicoot stuff. I'm gonna hype up
Ooh,
that little
okay.
marsupial.
awesome.
Okay,
So,
I like
yeah.
that. Well, yeah, seriously, thank you for coming on board. Like, as I said, I met you at Retropalooza. Super nice guy, super chill guy. I'm pretty sure the first thing he came up and said to me was, like, big fan of your show. I'm a fan of your show or something like that. So just super... I'm pretty sure that's what you said. Maybe
No,
I'm...
I probably
maybe
said
I'm,
that to everybody because I was just
He
meeting
probably
everybody.
said you're
Something
good
like
looking
that,
too.
but-
Like I love your accent.
probably said I was good. Probably said you wanted to sleep with me.
I mean,
but
everyone
the
says
first
that at that
opinion
point, so it's like I'm just repeating myself.
I just had such a nice impression of you from the very start, and you definitely haven't let me down yet. So I was
Yet.
honored and
There's
very
still
happy
time.
to have you on today.
Still time.
There is still time. You could surprise me.
No, dude, this was awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And everyone listening to this, make sure to check out Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, AntDude on YouTube. The link
A
will be in the
spitting image.
description, and you can
A
also
spitting image of Paul
you can
Rudd.
also YouTube it.
Yes, thanks again. This has been episode 5, courtesy of Wood, AntDude, and myself, your other host, Eric. And we look forward to seeing you on episode 6 sometime in the near future. So once again, ET Podcast, the podcast to phone home about. See you guys next time.
See ya.